vibrating feel, like vibrating energy between atoms and all that stuff. I don't understand any of that science stuff. Hey everyone, Luke here from Midnight Mayday. Today we're going to talk about Pearl Jam's new single and title track to their new album, Dark Matter. Now this dropped, I think almost a month ago now at this point, so I'm a little late to the game, but it is the first taste to their upcoming 12th studio album that's set to release on April 19th, and I think it's worth reacting to and checking it out. I'm taking the perspective of the average musician and fan. I'm not going to go deep into the finer details of music theory and this, that, and the other thing. If you want some of that, go check out Rick Beato's channel. He's amazing. Or Justin Hawkins, also a great channel. I don't care for his opening intro, but that's just me. Maybe because I can't hit those high. The band had a listening party back in January at the Troubadour Club in LA, where Eddie Vedder was quoted by attendees to say he considered this to be their best work yet. And Mike McCready told Classic Rock late last year that the album is a lot heavier than you'd expect. He says there's a lot of melody and energy of the first couple of records. Dark Matter was produced by 2021 Grammy Award Producer of the Year, Andrew Watt, who also recently produced albums for Ozzy, Iggy Pop, and The Stones, among a bunch of others. Justin Hawkins already did a reaction to this new single, as a bunch of other people have. He notes that Andrew Watt's reputation for tapping into the essence of what makes all these bands great. Now, judging by how the band and the critics are talking, it does. But is it really comparable to arguably the best opening trilogy of albums by any modern rock band, or any band for that matter? I mean, we are talking about 10, Versus, and Vitalogy here. So does Pearl Jam's Dark Matter rock? Let's explore. Now, for me, the 10 album was one of the albums that changed my life and is the foundation of my musical style and taste, and what I've benchmarked every subsequent Pearl Jam album by. As an aside, it's an album also that awakened my younger brother to the world of rock. I gifted him a cassette of 10, I think it was for his 9th or 10th birthday, and it's something that stuck with him ever since. To be honest, this was like 1994, 95, and he was listening to Ace of Base constantly and driving me crazy. So as a good older brother, I had to intervene. In this case, it worked out because now he's into rock and guitar-driven music, and he's introduced me to a lot of great new bands, and the circle has been complete. The student is now the master, and I'm learning a lot of great things about new music from him. So for the Dark Matter single, I think Eddie's vocals they're going all out. And I say it's close to the early years for sure. Versus and Vitalogy definitely, and even the Yield era. I don't think it's quite the same angst and rawness of 10. I mean, he's in his 50s. To me, it's always felt that 10 was focused more on personal pain and individual struggle, like Alive, or even Jeremy. I mean, Jeremy, though a critique of gun laws and gun culture in the States that leads to terrible outcomes, and it is at the same time about the Jeremy who was a real individual and suffered real individual pain. That said, starting with Versus, I think Pearl Jam focused their internal struggles to fight for the greater good and created more of a broader social commentary on inequality, government policy, and political figures. Vitalogy is the name of their charity after all, and you know, the Vitalogy Foundation supports the efforts of non-profit organizations doing commendable work in the fields of community health, the environment, arts and education, and social change. Now, I get the song is supposed to be about dark matter and the cosmos, so I think that is why the bass to me kind of sounds futuristic, you know, taken in with some of the synthy piano parts that are going on there. It creates this really kind of vibrating feel, like vibrating energy between atoms and all that stuff. I don't understand any of that science stuff. I just realized something. The bass sound and the whole vibe, the panning back and forth, that kind of feeling, it really reminds me of the Smiths song "How Soon Is Now." Let's have a quick listen and see. Right? Now back to the scheduled programming. I think the bass is the most underserved element here. However, again, taken with the synthy things that are going on, it doesn't really feel like the Jeff Ament bass that, you know, drives the song and acts as a solid counterpoint to the guitars, or works to complement the rhythm guitar of Stone Gossard as it normally would. But it works for this song, and it sounds cool. But let me know in the comments below if I should do a video on overlooked bassists like Ament, because I think he is often overlooked as one of the great modern rock guitar bass players. Matt Cameron's drumming certainly sounds like his Soundgarden days, and this single is a natural progression from that, and it's heavy and it's crunchy and sounds big. The guitars, they're heavily distorted and saturated. They're sounding awesome. They're doing some interesting riffs and some subtle little flourishes that really stand out as fresh to make the song sound a little more like early Pearl Jam. It sounds really great. The bridge solo part, it's pretty short. There's no real breakdown, and certainly not the iconic craziness and like balls to the wall solos like you get in Alive or Even Flow. To me, Alive is top 5 solos of all time. It's so good. What gets me about this solo bridge, it's not really a bridge, more like an extended outro. To me, it's those high bends. It just sounds sick. It's super high. It goes well beyond what you expect it would do, and it hits these crazy high notes. It sounds so cool. Overall, I think this song is more like modern Pearl Jam meets the old Pearl Jam of Versus Vitalogy era, so not quite 10, but with enough of the modern roots showing up to make it relatable to those who are drawn to the early years of Pearl Jam. So does this song rock? I mean, it clearly does. It's Pearl Jam at their best. They've been doing this for over 30 years. But is it on par with 10, Versus, and Vitalogy? Well, that's yet to be seen, but I also don't think it's a fair comparison. The environment and the times play such a huge element in any piece of art, and it will be impossible to catch that fire that was 10 in the early grunge days. And it's just not possible. But that's okay. Bands evolve, they move forward, and Pearl Jam is certainly known for being one of those bands to always look and head forward. And I think that's great. It's something we should all be doing as individuals, frankly. But I think Dark Matter as a single, and likely the album, has enough of the Pearl Jam of old, the roots, the things that really made people fall in love with Pearl Jam in the first place, combined with the modern direction of the band. And it's going to work, I think. It's certainly a step up from Gigaton, or at least it seems to be. I wasn't a big fan of Gigaton. Obviously, there's great tunes on the album, and you can't really knock Pearl Jam. They're an amazing group of musicians, but it just wasn't for me. But again, I think this is going to be a good album all around. But let's face it, there's very little to get excited about in rock these days. It's either nostalgia and rehashing what's done before, or it's pandering to the pop crowd a la MGK. But I think Pearl Jam may have found the right balance between nostalgia and digging into their roots and something modern. So I'm personally very excited to listen to this new album. So what do you think of the new single? Are you excited for the new album? Is rock dead or is there still hope? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any future videos, and check out some of Midnight Mayday's original music on our page and a couple of the covers that we did. But until next time, this is Luke from Midnight Mayday, signing off.